I'm so desperate to read this book. There's like a situation going on here. Also on the list of things that's horribly embarrassing, Christmas on the Murder Express. Murder on the Christmas Express. It doesn't even have a cover yet. I don't care. I just want to buy it. But I feel like, how do you know a book is bingeable until you start reading it? That's about as big of a commitment you're gonna ever get out of me. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse, and welcome to a year-end book tag, which, let's be honest, is kind of comical for a mood reader to be doing a book tag that talks about plans for the end of the year, but I saw it and I thought it might be kind of fun because I do have some unofficial plans for the end of the year. In fact, that's not what I wanted to say. In terms of, for all of you who have been participating in Booktober Bingo, thank you very much. I love seeing the posts. I hope you guys are having really good times with it. This year I have done what I did last year in that starting in October, I just kind of read whatever I wanted and slotted into wherever it fit on the bingo board. But now that I look ahead and I see, I'll pop up kind of a current where I'm at right now, and I see what's vacant, I am going to try to steer my mood reading towards my vacant slots because, of course, I'm hyper competitive with myself and I want to black out the bingo board. So plans in that sense. So plans but not plans. So mood reader plans. But it is mid-November right now. If you guys are following me, probably more so on Instagram, then you would see I'm doing National Novel Writing Month, which is 50,000 words in 30 days. I'm doing the Rebel rewrite this year, so my word count is like slightly skewed in that some of what I'm writing is like retyping stuff I've written and then handwritten edits, and then I'm also writing new material, so it's a little bit skewed this year. But all that to say, I'm writing every day. My goal is to continue to write every day, so that has 1,000% impacted my reading, more so than last year, and I'm not sure why. I'm having a different, like last year I feel like I kept up with my reading. This year I'm not, so it doesn't matter. This is sort of where I am. But anyway, I'm going to continue to write for the rest of the month, so my reading is a little bit off this month. Also in terms of what books I'm able to actually concentrate on, because obviously, maybe it's not obvious, but obviously, I'm writing a thriller, psychological thriller, suspense, and that's what I love to read, but trying to read what you're writing definitely can play tricks on you, and the last thing I want to do is unintentionally absorb something and kind of regurgitate it, and also not be able to focus on the story that I'm reading, because the whole point of reading is to enjoy the story. So, big intro as always. Let's get into the book tag details. So I have seen a lot of people do this book tag, like I mentioned, but Simon from Savage Reads is the one that I'm going to link down below. I don't know if he is the originator of it or just where I originally saw it this year. So anyway, I'm going to link his video down below for you guys. But a handful of questions, so here we go. Question number 1 is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? So I have done 2 soft DNFs, I want to say, this year. So the first one, which came earlier in the year, is The Snowman by Jo Nesbø, which I feel like I'm so desperate to read this book, but I could not get into it when I read it. So I had made it, I'd put it on like my fake winter TBR, because I don't really make TBRs, which is why it's fake, like 2 years ago that I was going to read it, and I didn't, because it's a snowy serial killer. It's the middle of the Harry Hole series, but my understanding is you can just jump right in, which is what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to read everything leading up to this book. But it is a serial killer who his calling card is basically he puts a snowman in your front yard. Nice. And that murders people. So Nordic noir, definitely dark and messed up. And I want to say I got like 150 pages into it. Like I didn't just give it like a kind of a try, but I could not stay focused. And I could not for the life of you life of me tell you what was happening in February, because I was like, I left it to the end and I was going to read it before winter was over, and it didn't happen. So very safe to say I'm going to have to start again at the beginning. So I remember some of the murders. I didn't not like it. I just couldn't get into it, which is also the case with the next book I have. I pulled a whole pile of books over here to talk about because I love a visual aid, and I would have had a visual aid of the snowman, but also in the list of things that's horribly embarrassing. I can't find it. It's here somewhere. I didn't get rid of it or anything, but I did do... So we're gonna sidebar because it's me. I did a soft reorg of my books. What I was trying to do was pull forward books I haven't read yet so that they are on my radar, mixed in with some books that I have read that I love. But I was trying to move away some of my like most favorites, which were hanging out behind me. And I know the snowman got moved, and I just don't know where he landed. He could be in the other room with what I read this year and my 23 of 23, which is a whole separate thing. But anyway, the next book that I started and haven't finished yet is Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chismar. So I talked about this because I got the sequel also, which was gifted to me from Berkeley, which is Becoming the Boogeyman, which I also want to read, but I have to read this first. And this is another one I got. Here we go. Here's my bookmark. I got to page 81, and it was distracting me in the sense that this is fictionalized. I was going to say true crime. It's like a fictionalized reality of Richard Chismar's life at the time in 1989. I want to say it's supposed to take place. Yes, 1988. And he has added murders in his hometown, which is the true crime part, but that's fictionalized, mixed in with himself as a self-insert, what was really happening in his life, but then getting involved in the true crime that's happening in the town that he lives in. So all that to say, my mystery thriller has a past and present mystery, even though this is all just set in the past, but there is kind of a true crime aspect to it. So it's muddying my brain too much, and I can't separate the two because I'm not that smart. I can't compartmentalize that much. But this is so cool because there's like real pictures that are fictionalized for the true crime. It's such a great concept. I'm really excited about it. I just need to be in a better headspace for it. So that's kind of the story with the two of those. So whether or not I will finish them both before the end of 2023, I don't know, but I am going to finish both of them. So that's about as big of a commitment you're going to ever get out of me. Okay, number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year with? I don't have a specific... I feel like I have more of like winter books that are going to transition me into the winter season. I did really want to read another dark academia book. I really just have not leaned into that at all this year, and I did not lean into it at all last year either. So I do have, it's right here, For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, which is her dark academia and is the only of her books I haven't read yet, so that'll bring me to 0 with her. So that's a potential. I don't know which books. I don't know which books take place in the fall necessarily. So one other book that I do really want to read before the end of the year, and I don't know if this is just like a situation going on here. Oh my goodness. Is What Lies in the Woods. I don't know why this just sounds like fall to me. I feel like when you're in the woods, I feel like it should be fall, but this is also a past and present mystery 20 years ago. I've heard such fantastic things about this. This is also on, I don't put a lot of weight into the Goodreads best of the year in the like it's very popular books and yay for them, but like I don't put much more thought into it beyond that. But I saw this pop up on that list and I was like, oh man, I really want to read that. So I don't know if this actually takes place in the fall, but this is one that I would like to read this year, and it just sort of feels fall-ish to me. So we're going to make that kind of a fall book. And I don't think anything else is necessarily autumnal, so there's that. Okay, and then number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? So I am going to do my December new release video so you guys can see all the books that are coming out that I've got my eye on for December. And I'm definitely jazzed about Ruthless Vows, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I pre-ordered that. And it comes out on December 26th, so by the time it gets here, it's probably going to be New Year's. So I don't think I'm going to read it in 2023, but I'm interested in that one for sure. Another book that I am interested in, and I already got my hands on, but I have some work to do before I can read it, is the new Tessa Wiegert book. So Devil's at the Door. This is the 5th book in the Shayna Merchant series. So I was going to say I won this. I won it in an auction that I paid for. So We Need Diverse Books did a auction early October, I want to say it was, and a whole bunch of authors donated books. Some of them donated like their time to do critiques, different packages, coming to book clubs, all these different things. And there were so many cool prizes. And I mean, if money wasn't an object, I definitely could have gone even more hog wild. But I wound up bidding on and winning the Tessa Wiegert. So it was a 2-book package deal. So it is book number 4, The Kind to Kill. One of my reading plans, which is a future question, is book number 3 in the series. So I've read the first 2 books in this series, but I totally enjoy it. Shayna Merchant is a detective. In book number 1, she has left her job in New York City and has gone up to the small town with her fiance and then starts investigating crimes that are happening there. And then more stuff happens, obviously. So book number 5 comes out on December 5th, which I'm very excited about. And what was also super cool, so for one, they're personalized and signed, which is awesome. And she sent me these super fun stickers, which are part of like the promotion for Shayna, which is also super cool. But I was going to get the arc of this. And then when she was getting ready to mail the package, she was like, hey, I just got like a box of final copies. Would you rather have one of those? And I was like, oh my God, I would love that. P.S. She's the coolest person ever, Tessa Wiegert. And then just to sidebar again, because of course I am, she signed this one too. And then book number 4 is annotated, which how stinking cool is that? So I already purchased this book, so I have my own copy of it, and then this is her annotated copy, which I think is just going to be so fantastic to read through. So I'm super excited. I would love to kind of do like a back-to-back-to-back binge of these 3 books. So anyway, December 5th, very excited about it. And then Catherine Faulkner's new book, The Other Mothers, comes out also on December 5th. And I'll be honest, I don't even totally know what it's about because I didn't care. I just was really excited about it. Hold on. And not that I didn't care, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm going to read it anyway because I'm excited about it. So it says, when a young nanny is found dead in mysterious circumstances, new mom Tosh is intrigued. She's been searching for a story to launch her career as a freelance journalist, but she has also been searching for something else, new friends to help her navigate motherhood. So it says she sees them at her son's new playground, The Other Mothers, hence the name of the book. A group of sleek, sophisticated women who live in a neighborhood of tree-lined avenues and stunning houses. The sort of mothers Tosh herself would like to be. When the mothers welcome her into their circle, Tosh discovers the kind of life she's always dreamt of. Their elegant London townhouses, a far cry from her cramped basement flat and endless bills. She's quickly swept up into their wealthy world via coffees, cocktails, and playdates. So we've got a dead person. She is trying to investigate what's going on. Are these women really her friends? We shall see, we shall see. So She Wrote Greenwich Park, which I haven't read yet. It's over here. And maybe I should make that a book that I want to read this year. And I don't know, I'm just super excited about it. Sounds great. I've heard some great pre-buzz about it. Kate from Killing the Tea has talked about it, and she's doing an interview with Catherine Faulkner. So anyway, very excited about that one. Okay. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So this is where the humor comes in because, again, I'm a mood reader. So anything I say to you guys right now is probably not going to happen, but, you know, we're gonna give it a try. So I talked about the Tessa Wiegert books. Hold on. I'm going to drop everything all at the same time here. Okay, so Dead Wind is book number 3 in the Shayna Merchant series. This is the one I have to read first, so on my list. So I had mentioned my 23 and 23 a few minutes ago. I have done a spectacularly terrible job of paying attention to that list and reading books from that list because squirrel, right? So one of the books on that list that I would actually like to read is The Woman Inside by E.G. Scott. This will also fill my Behind the Mask authors who write with a pen name prompt on my bingo board. And this was actually the book I had in mind when I created that prompt. So I was trying to double down. So this is two writers who are friends. So Elizabeth Keenan and Greg Wands are E.G. Scott. And this is All She Wanted Was Their Life, and Marriage is the Most Dangerous Game. So GARE from Killing the Tea, this is like his favorite book that he always recommends, and it just sounds bingy and super fun, and I'm totally here for it. And I will say, with trying to find a book to read while I'm writing, just wanted to put those down, I have been desperate to read a bingeable book. But I feel like, how do you know a book is bingeable until you start reading it? Because I picked up a book which was really, really good, but I wasn't binging it, and I thought it was going to be bingeable, and it wasn't bingeable, but that's also my brain. So anyway, sidebar. Okay, some other contenders in the books I would like to read before the end of the year. So I have His Missing Wife by Jamie Lynn Hendricks. Her book, this is the UK cover. This is called Finding Tessa. In the US, this is her debut. I have read her other two books, so this would be my last of her books that I would need to read. And I loved It Could Have Been Anyone, which was the group of friends who go to a destination wedding, and on page 1 the groom is killed, and like a whole bunch of people in the wedding party who are friends of the bride have a motive for killing him, and you have to find out who done it. And I loved it. Totally bingeable. Getting a text message, totally fine. And yeah, so this is a possible bingeable book, which I'm very excited about. And then another book which I've heard is bingeable, but I feel like it doesn't look as big when I just did that. 356 pages. It feels like it's bigger than that. This is Chloe Cates is Missing by Mandy McHugh. So her new book just came out. I am delinquent in reading her last book. This also definitely has a true crime vibe to it. So this is the disappearance of a child star brings her family's darkest secrets to the surface, some of which include the detective on the case. So Chloe Cates is a 13-year-old star. She goes missing. We get multiple POVs and pages from Chloe's lost diary. So I have heard fantastic things about this book too. I'm afraid it's a little too close to the sun. Not that I'm writing a book about a 13-year-old that goes missing, because I'm not. But again, sort of dual timelines and investigation and true crime-ish stuff is a little close to the surface, but we'll see. I definitely want to read this one. And then in the irony of true crime and all of that kind of stuff, I picked up While Idaho Slept by J. Reuben Appelman. So this is about the 4 college students who were murdered in Idaho back in 2022. So this case is still ongoing. It is still open. The trial hasn't even started yet. I have been interested in following. There's been just such an interesting like true crime on YouTube, like journalists, everyone. This case just became such an obsession for so many people, and I think part of the lure is it took them like 5 or 6 weeks before they arrested anybody. There is a gag order. There is like this much information known to the public, and there's so many questions around this case. So the author of this book, this is his second true crime memoir. So he wrote a book called The Kill Jar. And this is not necessarily about trying to figure out who done it, but how the impact of these murders have impacted Moscow, Idaho. He is from Idaho. One of his children went to school at the University of Idaho. How many times can I say Idaho? And sort of a look on the impact of these 4 horrible murders on the families, on the community, and that sort of a view on it. So not in a salacious way. So interested in this. So this is on my list. And then another book for my 23 and 23 is You're Invited by Amanda J. Atisa. So this came out in 2022. Her new book is coming out the beginning of 2024. I would love to read this somewhere in between because I just would. It's not a series. It doesn't matter. You don't have to read them in order. But I really enjoyed her debut, My Sweet Girl, and I had all the plans in the world to read this one, and I just haven't yet. So this is about a destination wedding, and it says she'll wish she never RSVP'd. So her friend is marrying her ex-boyfriend, and it says, what could be worse than your ex marrying your childhood best friend, getting accused of her murder? So destination wedding in Sri Lanka, and the bride is murdered, and all signs are pointing at our main character, which is everything I love in a book. And I'm like, am I going to answer questions that are too far ahead? No. Okay. So another book that I'm interested in for the end of this year is Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. This is definitely not, I feel like, what people would say when they think of an Audrey book, but that's cool because I am expanding my reading. I've been expanding my reading for a while. So this is about family love and growing up. Okay. I'm laughing because I've tried to read this multiple times. Okay. In the spring of 2020, Laura's 3 daughters returned to the family's orchard in northern Michigan. While picking cherries, they begged their mother to tell them the story of Peter Duke, a famous actor with whom she shared both a stage and a romance years before at a theater company called Tom Lake. As Laura recalls the past, her daughters examine their own lives and their relationship with their mother, and are forced to reframe their understanding of the world they thought they knew. So it says it's a meditation on youthful love, married love, and the lives of our parents led before they were our parents. So I've just heard such fantastic things about this book, and I'm just very intrigued by the mother-daughter aspect of it. And again, I don't know, I'm interested. So no promises. And then I've got 3 holiday books here, which maybe I'll just talk about at the end. Okay. Is there a book you think could shock you? Question number 5. Is there a book you think could shock you and become your favorite book of the year? So I don't. I would be very surprised if anything I read. I've got in my head a couple of contenders for my favorite book of the year. I don't think anything is going to unseat those couple of books. I would be real surprised. And I think some of these books that I've picked out are going to be fantastic. I really do. I just don't know if anything is going to be like a best of the year. So sorry to say, but no. And if they do, all the better, all the better. I don't think I ever know going in that like, this is going to be my favorite book. So there you go. Okay. And then number 6, have you already started making plans for next year? I have and I haven't. I have in the sense that I absolutely have started pre-ordering books that come out in 2024. No joke, not kidding, totally have. I have pre-ordered The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I am this close to pre-ordering the new Peter Swanson book, A Talent for Murder, which comes out, depending on if you're in the US or the UK, June, July 2024. It doesn't even have a cover yet. I don't care. I just want to buy it. So I almost bought it the other day and I didn't, and I'm kind of waiting to hit a goal with my word count and then reward myself with a book. But then the other part of me is like, if I want to reward myself with a book, why would I buy a book that I'm not going to have for 7 months? So we'll see. But I have pre-ordered the Stacey Willingham book, which I have an arc of. I pre-ordered the Amanda J. Atisa book, which I also have an arc of. I pre-ordered the Vera Kurian book. What else have I pre-ordered? I'll probably do a whole video about pre-orders. Riley Sager has a new book next year. Like, I'm definitely going to be reading My People next year, which I'm very excited about. And in terms of plans, I have actually, hold on. I have the arc of the new Kristen Bird book, Watch It Burn. So I am participating in her book campaign. So reading the arc, helping to promote the book. So more content coming on that in the future. But this is, I want to say it comes out in March. I will fact check it and have it all down below for you guys. So this is 3 women work to uncover the scorching lies and scandal behind a self-help movement, igniting a power keg of secrets that could blow their town apart. So I have had the great fortune of reading her first 2 books. So I Love It When You Lie. She sent a copy of that to me. I had posted about her first book the night she went missing, posted about that on Instagram. She had reached out to me. She wound up sending me her second book, which was so flippin' cool. She's also an incredibly kind, incredibly wonderful author. So I loved that book. So this is her new one that's coming out. So reading plan number 1, I definitely want to read arcs that I have, review them, post about them in advance of them coming out. And then I would really love to also refocus my attention on what I already have here. So I have not pulled the stats yet, but I read a ton of 2023 books, or it feels like I read a ton of 2023 books this year. More so, I feel like than in past years, I read current year new releases. And part of that was the fantastic fortune of having partnered with some publishers and having books sent to me, and continuing to partner with Book of the Month and having books sent to me, and then getting some arcs that I was super excited about that I really wanted to read. So it was a very generous year in terms of access to 2023 releases. So I do want to make an effort to read some of my backlist that I did not get to this year that I wanted to. And then just a final thought as we are going to swing into the end of the year and the holidays. I do have 3 holiday themed books. So not really the autumn books, but Christmassy books. So I have The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. I mentioned this in another video. This is a little novella about a student who is studying abroad, and she winds up going home with her friend to her house in London and meets the family. And I'm pretty sure murder ensues because it's Peter Swanson. And then I picked up Christmas on the Murder Express. No, Christmas on the Murder Express. Murder on the Christmas Express by Alexandra Benedict. Oh my gosh. Can you guys tell where my, there's a little card in here, where my brain is at? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm losing my mind. So she wrote Christmas Murder Game, which I read last year for the holidays, and I loved it. So I wound up seeing that she had a new book coming out called The Christmas Jigsaw Murders, and kind of missed the fact that this book came out. So I wound up picking them both up from Blackwell's. So we've got like a map of the train car inside this one, which I'm really excited about. And what is in Christmas Jigsaw Murders? Anyway, Christmas Murder Game I thought was going to be like a cozy family kind of Agatha Christie type thing, and it was flippin' dark in all the best ways. So she does a lot of puzzle mysteries. This one doesn't have any maps or anything, just a pretty inside. So I'm very excited to read these books too. So that didn't really answer a question, but I just kicked my tripod. So all of those things are telling me, stop talking, Audrey, stop talking. It's time to go. It's time to go. So those are my year-endish kind of plans for a person who doesn't make any sort of plans. And we can all revisit this at the end of December and see if any of these predictions actually came true. But let me know, what are your reading plans? Are you making plans? Is there one book in particular that you were like, before this year ends, I am reading this thing? Let me know all of those things, and anything else you want to let me know down below. And I will see you guys in another video. I'm definitely going to pick back up the pace after. I'm still going to write in December, but the everyday writing is definitely cutting into all the time and all the things. So I will see you guys in the next video whenever that happens. And until then, take care, everybody. Bye.